Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another wonderful Cook Along Live this Friday afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me, and I have two microphones set up because I am expecting more company, so hopefully they'll be able to talk into that microphone and you'll get to hear them too, instead of me just talking and having one-way conversations. So, welcome to the stream. Tonight we're going to be making some Creole-style jambalaya and some sweet cornbread. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do, hopefully, I've got everything prepped. If you don't have everything prepped, go ahead and start chopping. Get your sausage cut up first. I just want them in little small discs like this. You can cut them thinner if you want or thicker. It's your jambalaya. Do what you want. And we're going to do our chicken as well. I'm going to grab a plate real quick so that we can season these guys up. And the reason I'm using a plate is because then I can press them into some of the seasoning. We'll do that, and I'm basically just going to get my sausages out here on the plate, and I'm going to start putting some of this Cajun seasoning that I have. I'm going to use about half of it on the sausage. We're just going to get these guys kind of doused up, and then we're going to start sauteing them with the seasoning on, and what that's going to do is start building our flavor in the pot. And you'll notice that by using the plate, I'm catching all of the extra seasoning down on the plate. So what I can do is roll the sausage around in the seasoning and just make sure that it's completely coated. And when I move on to the chicken, and I have the chicken working on that, I can start with all the seasoning that's already in the plate. So I'm just going to kind of roll this around, just using my hands, nothing fancy. Just make sure these are as coated as you can get them. Dust off our hands. Now, I've also set up a couple of extra cameras today. So one of them is in the living room so that you can actually see the people who are over, which I think broke my sync cam. So the sync cam's not working right now. So unfortunately, I can't switch over to that. However, once some people show up, we'll see how it works out with them and the microphone and all of that. All testing today. We'll see how cool we can get this stream, and by cool, I mean ultra nerdy. So, go ahead and get some cooking oil in your pan, pot, let it kind of warm up. I'm using a cast iron Dutch oven. This is something my sister left here when she decided that she didn't want it anymore, so it's mine now. It's a really, really good Dutch oven. We've got all of this seasoned up, and what we're going to do is once this gets a little bit warm, we're going to start kind of sauteing it and searing it off in the pan. And what that's going to do is it's going to start crusting the seasoning on the outside of the sausage, and it's going to essentially start kind of burning some of that to the bottom of the pan, which is going to give us a really cool layer of flavor down on the bottom that we're going to deglaze later. I can definitely turn off the extra mic for now. Cool, so is that better? Only one mic now, just the one on here. Awesome, awesome. Hey, Irish Cats, how's it going? Welcome. Hi, Mom. Hi, Stepmom. And Etienne, always great to have you on the stream. I'm just waiting for this to heat up just a little bit before I get into this. What I can actually start doing is kind of dusting my chicken. Again, we want to use about half of the seasoning here. I'm not going to put too much on here. Just a little bit. There we go. What we'll do is we'll throw in one piece of sausage as kind of a test. Perfect, we're getting some sizzle. That's exactly what we want. So we're just going to start layering these in, and I'm putting these in the same way that I've been doing for Brussels sprouts and other things that we've been cooking in here. I'm putting them in a clockwise order and just around the outside. That way I know which ones to flip around first. And once the first one is done, the rest of them will be done as well. And I don't know if you guys saw that on camera, but I just got oiled in the eye, so that was fun. And we're not going to be able to fit all of our sausage in here, but we can get most of it in. Probably about half, maybe a little less than half. That's fine. We can do this in batches. And I'm being super brave and sticking my actual hand into the Dutch oven. I would recommend you use a pair of tongs or something to actually get them in. And I'm actually going to switch to these to spin them around once I think they're done. So, what's on everybody's agenda for the weekend? Anything fun? I'm just going to be chilling at home. Tomorrow, I'm literally doing nothing. I have no plans. I may go out into my garden and take care of some of the planters and plants that I have out there. Yet, apart from that, I got nothing tomorrow. On Sunday, I have a friend who just got out of surgery, and I've been asked to go make ramen. So I'm going to go make some homemade from scratch ramen, the broth, the noodles, everything. And that'll be Sunday. We'll see how that works. We'll see how that works out. I was working with a buyer, actually, earlier this week. We were looking at a couple of homes in Martinez, and here's how the housing market is. We actually, house came on the market. That afternoon, we reached out to see, what the interest was on the house and whether we could get a scheduled showing for a Saturday afternoon. And by the time my client filled out the required form to go in and do like the coronavirus thing, you have to fill out a form now that says, hey, I don't think I have coronavirus, and I know that I could possibly get it if I show up on your property. By the time we filled out the form and sent it in, they already had 2 offers, one of them a cash offer, and the other one was not cash, but a really good down payment. And so my client actually, he didn't want to do the bidding thing, so we decided that that was not going to be the house for him. Yet that's what the housing market is doing. My sausages are starting to be cooked, so I'm just going to go ahead and start flipping them around. And one of the guests who came over tonight is actually celebrating. She just got a new job, so that's actually kind of fun. I don't know if she wants to talk a little bit about that or not, but I'll leave that up to her. And I'm waiting for group number 2 to get here as well. I'm not always going to have people over for these cook-along lives. And you can tell from my dog, I believe group number 2 might be here. And we'll see. So we got the sausages in here. You can see a really... Hey, Poppy, come here.
Hi, how are you?
Don't let him out. Don't let him out.
Oh, sorry.
Bezic! Hi, come here.
Hey, I'm Rod. This is the rest of them.
Hello, come on in. Good, man. How's it going? Welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Good,
Good to see you. Good to see the rest of you as well.
Good to see you shaved once again.
I did shave once again. Yes, no beard today. Sorry, everybody.
Hello, crowd.
Camera's there. Camera's there, but they can't see you. They can only see this. You guys can see up on that TV what's going on the stream, and you can read all the chat. This is Rod. He's one of the fellow associates in my office.
Hello.
Awesome real estate agent. Let me switch around here.
I brought awesome Ava
His daughter. Move over because you're behind the chat.
and dope Darla.
There we go. And then we got Darla over there, and she's off camera, but she's going to come say hi as well.
This looks so good.
And my camera is really, really blurry.
I'll come in too.
And this is Haley. Haley is... There we
I
go.
love this.
Perfect.
Is what
Yeah.
Darla was talking about.
Oh yeah, induction is the way of the future. And by the way of the future, I mean 10 years ago, but it's awesome.
How, I like that. I like the...
I told you that was set up.
We'll get back to the food here in just a second. There we go.
I'm really.
So we got everything prepped. We're ready to go. We got the cornbread stuff going. We got the jambalaya going over here.
You feel free at any time this evening to put me to work.
Oh, of course.
You're like, I need you to slice this. I need you to walk the dog. I need you to slice this and walk the dog.
Slice this and walk the dog.
Yeah.
Do them both at the same time. I think that might get you into trouble. Thank you. It does smell really, really good in here right now. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to have people over every time for cook-along. However, for some of the bigger meals like this, I made this on Monday as kind of a tester, and I had leftovers for the week. I haven't eaten anything but jambalaya this week. So, getting a little sick of it at this point, but that's all right.
Yay! I'm so glad the puppy is out.
Oh yeah, puppy's always out.
Good.
Kitty is back in the back room.
Where did you get that in Hooker?
Amazon. Amazon is a great place for all kinds of stuff. Yes, Fez was letting people in for sure. Oh, you guys are at summer storm season over there in Georgia. And you guys can see the chat up on the screen as well, so if you want to follow along with what I'm responding to. Last time I had people over, I didn't have the TV hooked up, so I was talking to people on the internet, and nobody could follow along with what I was doing.
Because you were having a conversation with people that couldn't be heard.
Yep, because they're all on chat. So yes, he actually. So I text. So when I have people coming over and I'm in the middle of something, I usually just leave the front door unlocked. And so I just told them to let themselves in. And then dog always charges the door when people let themselves in. So that's kind of what happened with that. Ooh, car show in Williams, Arizona. Awesome. Yeah, Julie, no eye protection. Julie knows Rod. Julie M. Hayes up there at the top.
Shut up! Hi, Julie!
She's watching. You can just, I got the mic right here, but I've got a mic down over there as well, but I turned it off because there's echo.
I have no eye protection either. I had LASIK though. I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, when I was starting this, it spit it right in my eye. I was like,
did it really?
yeah. I could definitely freeze some, Mom. Yes, I could definitely do that.
Would you like a soda?
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, being calm with all of this stuff is great. No soda for me, thank you. I'm going to be drinking an IPA from last year.
Celebration
I
ale.
have grape juice.
And she's got grape juice, and it's bourbon-aged grape juice. So if you guys are into
I like grape
the drinking... Hey, Michael, what's up, man?
Oh, wow. Nice.
So right now we're just still waiting on the sausage. We're going to be doing the same thing with the chicken. And just kind of searing it off after we get some of the seasoning on it.
It's the shape of a can. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Mike Hess does it. You can when you get the beer filled there, you actually buy the glass as well,
Ah.
which is nice. And I've seen a couple of other breweries do it this way, but I think it's really, really cool.
Where is that from? Sierra Nevada?
Nope, Mike Hess. That is Sierra Nevada. Mike Hess is down the street,
Ah.
bottom of Ignacio.
Oh, really? Did you say Ganesha?
Ignacio.
Oh.
I did say Ignacio, but it was Ignacio. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or no, it's
The other
in
side.
Orchard.
Yeah.
Shopping center.
Whatever one is the one that Safeway's in.
Yeah.
That one.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
Right next to Sourdough Bread Company, which is one of my favorite places to go for lunch. If you can't tell.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that place that good?
Dude, that place makes awesome sandwiches.
Really?
Fresh sourdough every day. They kind of make their bread like Subway, but it's sourdough, so it's better.
I've never been there.
Recommended.
I get to go to my brewery, my cafe.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been there yet. Very good things on it.
I don't drink, so I wouldn't know.
What are you all doing this weekend?
What are we doing?
Can you guys on the stream, can you guys hear them talking here on my mic, or are they way too far in the distance? I don't know, so I'm asking.
My voice carries, but
I have a very loud voice.
yeah, I've always been told that I'm really loud.
No one's ever accused me of being quiet either.
I'm just curious.
I'm not a quiet whisperer. Really, whispering is not one of my...
Because these mics only have like a small radius usually, so like you put them right here so that you can
Right.
hear them. And if I turn this up too loud, then I'm going to be blowing everybody out. While
Right.
they're, so that's why I put the two mics up, but that mic was echoing because they can hear it bouncing off of that
Oh, they
wall.
can hear you. Double.
Yeah,
I got you.
and this mic is actually timed to the camera, and that one's not. So there's a very obvious echo because the camera actually has about a 33 millisecond delay between the video and the audio. So I had to sync them up because otherwise I was offset from the video. A lot of a lot of stuff goes into this stupid streaming stuff. Like it seems super easy, and it's really not. But yeah,
It's really, really good that you're a nerd.
totally.
Like it plays really well into this function.
Oh, 100%. And
Good.
Don't say anything bad.
awesome.
I don't know what's bad.
Yeah.
And-
What's your language? Probably first.
then I can also switch the
Did I
camera.
say that word?
I just added this as a new feed. So in just a second,
Like as soon as
you'll see the new feed that I added. Hey, we got a lot of butts up on stream.
it's okay, you can look at my butt.
Wait.
Yeah, there's about a 20-second delay. So I'll switch it back over here. So I've got YouTube up on my TV over there, so they can actually see all of the chat. So if you guys are chatting to them, they can actually respond to you, which I didn't have last week. So we're slowly upgrading the system. It's really cool. And I've got a webcam up there on top of the.
I'm looking at the sausages.
Oh yeah. Bezek.
How old is this pheasant?
5 years or 6 years old.
It's such a good name, dude.
Yeah.
It's such a good name.
And I have a cat. Her name is Buttercup.
Is what?
Buttercup.
Oh, nice.
And then we used to have an orange cat. His name was Wesley. So we had all of the Princess Bride
As you wish.
characters, as you wish. So we've seared this off. We're actually just going to set these aside for now. Dog's going crazy. Come here. Come here. Got a sausage for you on the
What
ground.
kind of sausage is that? Where did what?
Andouille sausage. So we're doing andouille, and it's the chef guy on the front of the package. I can't remember the name of it.
Adele?
Adele's, yes, Adele's sausages. So they do really good sausage, and their andouille is for kind of Creole stuff. So I'm really just going to pour out the chicken onto the plate. We've already got some seasoning on the plate, so what I can do right now, I'm not touching the chicken, but I can just kind of mix it up with these tongs. And if you need to, you can always add more seasoning on top and then continue to mix. And you just really want to get a good kind of coat here. Add a little bit more seasoning. Yeah, get a nice light coating here. And the Creole seasoning that I'm using, I actually made myself. It's really not that hard. It's like 6 or 7 spices. You can look it up online, you know, how to make your own Creole seasoning. It's just easier. I couldn't find anything in any stores, so making my own was just what I was gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and dump the chicken in. And all I really wanna do is get color. I'm not super worried about putting these in at any particular time because the chicken is all gonna cook very similarly. I just wanna keep it down to like one layer. I don't wanna pack chicken on top of each other. So if I don't have enough to just, or if I have too much to just make it one layer, after I make a layer, I'll kind of wait for this chicken to cook until I get the next chicken in there. And you don't have...
Felicia's asking if that's a pound of chicken and if it's thighs.
It is thighs. I think I'm using less than a pound because I actually got bone-in thighs, and I know the recipe said boneless, skinless, so I deboned them and deskinned them, and I think it left me with a little bit under a pound. Yet I added extra shrimp, so for me that's better.
I feel like I'm on the kitchen network.
Oh yeah, of course. This is my Food Network show.
You are.
I would give
I know, this is
I would give Gordon Ramsay a run for his money.
I agree.
You? You're way nicer.
Gordon Ramsay.
Oh yeah, like you're way nicer.
Thank you. I try. And Rod, actually, you guys made my chicken tikka masala last week.
Dude, it was so
It was
good.
really good.
And then you did scallops with the same seasoning.
I did.
That's
Wait,
awesome.
The scallops.
Was it the same seasoning?
No, no. I did scallops just in garlic,
Ooh,
a
yum.
little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter, a little salt, a little pepper.
Yeah.
And you've got the hookup on like the fresh seafood spot, which is awesome.
That place has been really, really good. Their seafood, it's a place called 4-Star Seafood.
4-star seafood?
Yeah, and they're in San Francisco. And they, because of the COVID, they lost a lot of their business. They were supplying restaurants mostly.
Yeah.
And so with the restaurants closing their doors, they needed to find another outlet, another clientele, and they've been shipping. They will deliver it to us. If you order before 9 a.m., they will deliver it the same day.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
good.
And you said it's 5-star seafood?
Yeah. 4-star.
4-star.
Oh, jeez. 4-star
We'll
seafood.
give them 5 stars anyway.
Star.
Yeah, there we go.
It is a 5-star experience.
That is awesome.
Yeah, we got scallops, we got oysters, we
very
got
reasonably priced.
clams.
Yeah, and
The quality that you're getting.
Yeah.
and I got some of that halibut, which was amazing.
Oh yeah, that was fresh line-caught halibut by my buddy Chris Kent.
Sweet.
He found that just outside of the Golden Gate.
That's rad.
You got the halibut.
Just for thank you so much. We're actually. He sent me this picture last night
Oh my goodness.
with a text that said, "I've got something for you."
Put it in front of the camera,
This camera?
and then if you hit the button right on the front of the camera, it'll autofocus it.
This one?
Just don't click it all the way. Oh, it already autofocused. Never mind. So that's the tuna that they got. That is amazing. Is that a tuna or a halibut?
Yeah, it's a
That's a tuna.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a nice camera. You're supposed to go pick some of that up tomorrow.
The tuna, that's, yes.
So.
Yeah, that's my vlogging camera. I do aviation vlogs as well on YouTube, and
Oh, cool.
I picked that up, number one, to do that, and also, like, this is my old camera. When I first got into, like, high definition stuff, I was like, I need a camera, so I got this one. And then, I don't know, 8 years later, I got this one to do vlogging and stuff like that, because it's smaller and a little bit easier to manage, and you can do the microphone hookups and stuff. And so when I started doing my cook-along, it was actually just my phone, and I was like, I'm going to turn that into the camera. And then I did that in the phone for my food thing. And then I was like, well, I need a better camera than my phone so that I can actually check my phone when I'm cooking, because people would text me and I'd hear it going off and I'd be like, okay, what do I... Anyway, so we don't need to cook the chicken all the way through because we're going to be boiling it or simmering it with the rice and everything. So you're just trying to get some color on the seasoning. You don't want to burn it, so don't keep it in there too long, but you do want to get a little bit of browning and coloring on the chicken. If you see pieces like this that have a little bit of red in there or a little bit of pink, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
And I sent him on the show.
Oh, really?
And he's like, well, he's from the Danville. And he's like, well, I live in Concord, so
Right.
let me go to, yeah, so.
Thank you so much.
Haley's my sponsor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very nice.
I was interviewing at a couple of other brokerages, and I wasn't really liking their training. For me, it's all training. It's all like, what can I learn from you?
Right.
And they were not really all that great about their training.
I saw him like posting stuff on Facebook, and I had to like really like body slam him on Facebook. I'm
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
no, don't do this, bad boy.
Yeah. Go talk to Kristen White. And Kristen White's the team leader at Danville, and she was awesome, and she showed me all the stuff that they had. Walnut Creek is just like right up the street from me.
Right.
And I didn't want to deal with traffic on the way to Danville.
Yeah.
So it just
Where
worked
is
better.
the Danville office?
You know where Maria was off of Sycamore?
Right where Sloat is on El Portal.
Oh, Sloat.
It's right across the street from where Sloat or Navale's used to be, across from where the Denny's is.
No.
So if you
Oh, Denny. Oh, no.
If you take the 680 south,
Yeah.
take Sycamore, and head east, like you're going the back way to Blackhawk,
Okay.
and it's first right on Camino Real and
Okay.
Blackhawk.
Gotcha. Okay.
nice office, a little bit smaller than ours, but great location.
Smaller than like square footage, because that office is ginormous.
No, we walked around it. I think ours actually goes back further, and we have more office space.
We got like over like 400 units that office.
Right.
We did. Well, I don't know. I don't work here anymore.
Oh, really? What are you doing now?
I'm starting a new job with an interior designer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I have a big here in the local area. So I started looking.
Nice.
Yeah. So Haley got a job with Ashley Provis
With who?
Ashley.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
doing staging. So
Nice.
it's really, really cool.
Very cool.
Sweet,
Sweet.
sweet.
Actually, my first major in
Oh.
college. My dream was to be on.
Hey May, how's it going?
It's been auditions, home auditions, makeovers.
I do have a lot of balls in the air, yes.
But then 2008 happened.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm switching majors.
I have 4 people, well 5 including myself, 6 if you count my dog, 7 if you count my cat, who is put away in a closet because she's terrible.
Can we go look at the garden real quick?
Sure.
Would that be okay?
That's fine. This way.
Hey, here we go.
And he's totally welcome to go outside, so
Perfect.
in the back.
All right.
Go and check out the Marionberry plant, because there's some that you can pick.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Don't eat them all, please.
I won't. How long do those take to, like, if I were to...
1 year.
1 year?
1 year, and then the next
And then
year they...
start getting berries?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll start planting them now.
Oh, for sure. All right, so once we got our chicken kind of cooked off and browned, which is what we're doing here, we're again just kind of putting it to the side, and then we're going to start doing our vegetable base to get our sauce going. So the cool thing is, now I have people to talk to, and now we have a lot of conversations going on, as opposed to me just monologuing it the entire time that I'm cooking. I'm hoping that I can actually turn this into kind of more of a, I don't know, interview style thing where I'm doing something over here and then whoever comes over is actually talking about something that they've got going on that's kind of cool. I think that'd be kind of a fun episodic kind of show thing that we could do that would just keep going and not just be focused on the food. Let me know what you think about that. Obviously, you guys are the viewers, so if that sounds like something that is interesting, you're definitely going to still see the food and you're still going to be seeing me cook along. However, that will also lend itself to longer form episodes where it's not just me cooking and then, talking to myself for an hour and a half. Just let me know. What do you guys think? May, I've got everything already prepped. I don't want to invite people over and then help me cook. Although, that is a possibility. I've actually got a colleague that I was supposed to get on a call with today. He's out actually in the South Bay, and we're thinking about maybe collaborating and doing like a dual cooking stream. So we're going to talk about that, but we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but he's a pretty cool guy as well. All right, so our chicken is done. A lot of this is not cooked through, which is fine because we're going to be putting it back in the sauce and it's going to have time to kind of simmer with the rice that's going to be cooking later. So we're good to go with that. And what we're going to do next is we're going to get our onion going. And I've shown you how to cut onions several times before, yet I'm going to do it again just because it's a skill that is very necessary to have. And I'm actually going to pause my induction cooktop right now while I get this kind of going. I've already peeled off the skin on this and it took a long time. It's kind of a pain, yet this is a really quick way to get an onion peeled. You just cut off the bottom, and the reason you cut off the bottom of the onion is it gives you a nice flat surface to put the onion on, so it's not rolling around while you're trying to cut through it. If you still have the skin on the outside, that's fine. Just cut through the skin, put it on the side, take the bottom off, and then lay it flat on the flat surface so that it's not rolling around. From this point, just cut it in half, like this. And if you still have the skin on, that's all good. It actually separates the skin a little bit easier, and you have two halves of the onion. Now you have two flat surfaces, which this isn't going anywhere while you're cutting it. Much less of a chance that you're going to end up cutting yourself or injuring yourself, especially if you're using a dull knife. And if you take your knife and just score backwards right down the middle through the first layer of skin, the peel will actually just peel right off. It makes it super easy. You get under the papery skin down to the first layer of actual onion, and just peel that whole 2 layers off, and it'll just come right off. If you don't cut down the middle and don't kind of score that, you're working with an arc, like an arch, and an arch is a really stable kind of architectural structure. And trying to peel it off, that's when you're only going to be able to get little bits of it coming off because it can't fold back. It's actually holding itself in that down wrapped around position. So by giving it a little bit of a score, you're only working with a little portion of it, like a quarter, and then the entire thing just peels back and inverts. That's how you peel an onion. And then to cut the onion, you really don't even have to do the horizontal cuts if you don't want to. Yet I usually put at least one, like halfway through, halfway up, and then about 3/4 of the way back. And that's it. From here, I just kind of cut straight down, not all the way back to the where the horizontal slice is, but just about to it. And then you can cut right through like that, and the onion comes right apart into a good dice.
Oh boy.
Oh, puppy dog!
Who's inside now? Who's the good boy now? Who's the good boy now? Do you want
Did he poop?
what?
Did he poop?
I wasn't watching.
Okay, that's fine.
I wasn't either.
And then from this, you only have this much onion left. So you just cut a couple of vertical slits like this.
Oh my goodness.
And you can go all the way into the root of the onion, and then you're only left with this little bit. And if you want, you can even just make a couple of vertical slices through that and get all the way down to nothing but the root. And then you can toss that, feed it to your dog. Don't do that because it's not good for dogs. Or use it as compost. Toss it in a compost pile. So we got half of our onion cut. I'm going to get this going again and just put it right into the oil.
Okay, so is that a porcelain covered cast iron dish?
Yes, it is.
I love it.
Yes, this was my sister's. She actually, this used to be my dad's office.
Right,
and, the kitchen was fully a kitchen, and my sister had a lot of her older cookware here. When she got married, she left a lot of it here.
Oh, nice.
She didn't want this for some reason.
Awesome.
I was like, all right, cool. So I cleaned it up a little bit, and it works excellent on these cook-along lives.
That's great.
So I'm just going to go ahead and cut through this onion and just kind of show you how quickly you can get through one of these guys if you're like really in a hurry or if you're really working. And you can just really just kind of mow through these guys. And then you're done.
Great way to get a grocery.
Actually, if you go too hard, you run the risk of cutting yourself. So you got to be kind of zen when you're doing all this cutting.
Sharp knives.
Sharp.
Sharp knives are safer.
Sharper knives are definitely safer.
Exactly.
Where did you learn to cook?
YouTube.
Who?
YouTube.
Really?
I got a couple. So I started. Oh, not there. I want to go in there. I started cooking when I was in Idaho. I was living in Idaho for college, and when I was up there, my Nana had died, and she made the best tabbouleh ever. And I don't know if you know what tabbouleh is, right?
Yeah.
So it's a parsley salad. It's delicious. And I didn't want to forget how to do that or lose that from what I knew how to do. So I learned knife skills then. That YouTube wasn't really a thing at that point, so I just kind of taught myself how to do really, really fine cutting, and it took me like 3 hours to put together a bowl of tabbouleh, but I wanted it to be exactly the way she used to do it.
Right.
Once YouTube and kind of online video stuff became more prevalent, I went and actually learned how to do it correctly, and I did a pretty good job of figuring it out on my own, but there were some tips that I hadn't picked up yet, so I figured those things out on the videos. After I was done with Idaho, I moved back down here, and my sister, her good friend Hannah, who might actually be watching, but I'm not sure if she is, I don't see her on there or not.
Rachel said she loves the green one, but she brought a brand new white one.
Oh, perfect. I mean, yeah, that's awesome. But
Rachel is your sister?
Rachel is my sister.
Hi, sissy.
And thank you so much for leaving this one behind because I love it. I cook, like my cast iron pans and this are what I use to cook.
Anyone wants to know how you clean them, the porcelain ones?
Porcelain ones, I just use a damp sponge. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I use Barkeeper's Friend if I really need to get in there. Because if you're cleaning, like, this is getting gross, yet if you're cleaning a toilet, you can get the pumice stones from Home Depot, and that's how you clean the porcelain. So Barkeeper's Friend cannot be, there's no way that can be more abrasive than a pumice stone. So I'm sure a pumice stone would also work on this. So that's what I use. Another thing that you can do, when you're actually cooking and you get all that brown stuff kind of seared to the bottom of the pan, the reason you deglaze the pan with either tomatoes or anything acidic, onions, lemon juice, or wine, is because all of the little bits that are on the bottom release. Yep, that wine. That is too good of a wine to use in this cooking. It's a Cabernet that's been aged in oak barrels?
Bourbon barrels.
Bourbon barrels.
Thank you, Robert Mondavi.
Yeah, you don't want to be cooking with that. Drink that one. Don't cook with it.
So you were saying you can, what's the purpose for deglazing?
It releases all of the stuff that's stuck on the bottom of the pan. So when you're totally done, you have everything ready and your pan is cooled and all the gunk is still on the bottom of the pan, just heat the pan up to like searing super hot and just pour in a little bit of vinegar and your eyes are gonna water. But all of the stuff that's on the bottom will release. So, pro tip. So we're also gonna chop up a celery stalk. This one here, I actually cut them in half lengthwise just because it gives you smaller pieces. And I just think that works a little bit better. When you're cutting, always roll your hands behind. Let me do that. Always roll your hand this way so that when you're cutting vertically, there's almost no way that you can cut yourself. Unless you roll the knife back, it can't cut your fingers. So hand on the top of whatever you're cutting like this, and then the knife should roll up against your knuckle, and then you should just be kind of sliding your fingers backwards as you're cutting through whatever you're cutting. And you'll notice that I'm actually turning my body sideways. This is correct. And this does take getting used to. Your fingers are going to naturally want to kind of move forward to hold something down. You just want to resist it and just hold it down. Hold your fingers back. And occasionally you'll miss a bit, and you know what you do with these pieces?
Is Jack your dad?
Jack is my dad, yeah.
He says that you are yapping too much and you need to start working.
Thanks, Dad.
I love how you knew just in the comment that it was his dad.
No, he's right. I'm yapping too much.
No way.
So we got all of the onions and we got the celery in here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually put in our green pepper. If you have your green and red peppers cut, we're going to be putting both of these in the pan. I have the green pepper cut so I can show you how to cut the red one. Red pepper, we're going to take it, we're going to put it flat on our cutting board like this. Find a wide section of it, cut straight down. Lay it flat like this. Slide your knife in slightly. Go down, and then just roll the pepper around. And keep your knife going horizontally. And you'll cut all of the outside of the pepper off. And you're left with all of the seeds.
Game changer.
And then you can cut off the bottom, and you can cut off any bits that you missed. If you really want, you can trim up the top. I don't really care. I don't need that much pepper. I'm gonna start chopping all of this right here.
Is your mind wrong? You
Wow,
just blew our
Robert.
mind, Robert.
You're welcome.
I've tried so many different ways to try and cut one of those
Wow.
things, but I always do it wrong.
And now you can cut these into as small sections as you need to in order to get uniform slices.
What second are we at in the live stream? So when I need to do this again, I can.
Yeah. I was totally not paying attention.
We are 45 minutes and 42 seconds into the live stream. That includes the 10-minute countdown. So
Okay.
about a half an hour in.
You can even use that brand new knife that just came in the mail.
Ooh, I got a new knife in the mail.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we did. You did. No, I did. It was supposed to be here a couple days ago, but it showed up today. Which
Nice.
I'm happy about.
What'd you get?
It's the Japanese line.
Shun?
No, by Miyabi. Is that what it is? By.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Hinkle.
Yeah. And so we're just going to toss these guys in. And the point of this is really just to soften them. We don't really want to cook them and get them burned or anything like that. We just want to kind of soften all of the peppers and the onions and everything that we have in here.
Yeah, Miyabi, M-I-Y-A-B-I.
Yeah, those are good knives. My dad actually has one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, really nice knives.
It was actually, I asked the chef who turned me on to 4-Star Seafood what knives he likes, and he said he's really been enjoying those
Sweet.
lately. Yeah.
So all we want to do is kind of soften these, and then we're going to add our garlic. I've got my garlic already minced mostly. I'm using 5 cloves because the cloves that I have are small. The recipe calls for 4, but I assume that's going to be 4 normal size cloves. I left one.
Better with more garlic.
I've
Everything
never
is better
been
with
like,
more
that's
garlic.
Too much garlic.
I know.
Yeah, okay. I garlic too, yeah.
The easiest way to peel garlic is actually just to tap on it with your knife a couple times. Peel comes right off. It does kind of flatten the garlic a little bit, but that's all right because it makes this process way easier. You can also just kind of lightly tap on it with your knife. And then really the easiest way to break them down, get it as flat as you want, and just chop right through. That way you're not sitting there wasting time trying to do all the horizontal cuts. You know what? This is good enough. It's all going to be cooked down anyway.
I love garlic fries.
Garlic fries are amazing.
Take me to the Giants game. Garlic fries, hot dog, beer.
That was the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
Garlic fries.
Garlic fries.
Probably need more than 4 cloves of garlic for some garlic fries, though.
Yeah. Per bite. 4 cloves per bite.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
My future boyfriend has like a voice. Yeah. Not
We put in the garlic after all of these veggies have softened. So we're waiting for these to kind of just get a little bit. Onions are getting translucent, which is what we want. I'm just waiting for the peppers to soften a little bit. Once the peppers have softened a little bit, I'm actually going to move stuff away from the middle of the pan and put the garlic directly in the bottom of the pan so that it has a little bit of a second to kind of sweat and cook up a little bit. And then from that point, we're going to mix it all in and add our tomatoes.
How would you like it if we installed an exhaust fan above you?
I think that would be awesome. Except you know what I'd really rather do? Put insulation in my ceiling.
Oh yeah?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, right now it's
Over here.
too warm in here.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys can turn the air conditioning on if you want.
I'm fine.
Because they can't hear it on this mic, but if I had the other mic on, they would have been able to, which is why I turned it off.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and add our garlic in now because everything is soft. I'm just going to let it sit on the bottom there for about 30 seconds to a minute. Put this right there.
What kind of puppy is he, do you know?
He's a poodle and something else. I don't know exactly what, though. He's a mix. We got him from a rescue.
Oh, nice.
He is an Ewok, yes.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Look at him smiling.
Are any of these ingredients from your garden?
Not yet.
Okay.
I've been waiting so bad for tomatoes, and they're all green. I'm just like, you guys,
There's a huge heirloom out there. It's like,
yeah. Those are going to be orange, and then the ones on the other side are going to be black. So I've got Giants colors, and then I've also got yellow tomatoes, and they're going to be green. So I got A's colors too. So I'm representing both sides.
I was feeling
No one's representing this other Asian.
I've also, so mine I've been also doing for a lot longer than a lot of other people because I started them way earlier. I know you guys are using similar plants, but I had mine in the ground before I gave you yours, who were still in the pots. So mine have had a longer time to kind of get started.
Maybe
So
we're just behind it.
yeah, just a little bit, like 2 or 3 weeks, I think. So give it a second. You
Like
guys have any?
yours are so, the leaves are so much fuller. There's so many more leaves on them.
How often are you watering?
Every couple of days.
Okay.
Am I watering them too much?
No, when it's super hot out, you want to water them every day.
Oh yeah. I'm making sure that the soil is not going dry.
Okay, then you're good.
So I got a question. How often do you water rosemary?
I water that every day.
Because I bought some rosemary and it's not dead, but it's not growing.
Is the soil sopping wet, or is it in a pot? You have to water them slightly more often because it drains quicker. So maybe once or twice a day.
Oh, okay.
Yep, fried green tomatoes are a South American staple.
They're
My
so
mint's
good.
exploding, but
That's one thing I miss about Florida.
Oh God, I don't miss anything about Florida.
the only place in Florida I've ever been was Pensacola, Florida, because my stepbrother went to the naval school there. So, but other than that, I'm like, what's
I lie. I miss Disney World. I miss Jacksonville was actually pretty fun. So there was a lot of stuff that I enjoyed in the South. Miami's pretty good. I wasn't there for very long, but
I went in July, so I didn't love it.
I'm sorry.
Very hot.
I
I'm
miss
so
the
sorry.
beaches on the Gulf.
I missed, yeah.
Like we lived in St. Petersburg, and the beaches there are fantastic.
Yeah.
It felt like when you open the car door in July, it's like opening the oven, right?
100%.
I have big curly hair, so humidity and I do not mix.
So we're gonna get our can of tomatoes now that everything is kind of softened a little bit. And we're just gonna do right in with the tomatoes. Now we also have to add chicken stock, so don't put this anywhere. We're not gonna get all the tomatoes out this way, but we are gonna get the rest of them out with the chicken stock. So just get as much out as you can. That's good. You can see that this is totally not a clean can. We're just gonna set that aside for now. We're gonna do salt, pepper, and all of the herbs that you have, like the thyme and oregano and everything that we have on the side.
Oh yeah.
I've already portioned that out into this plate over here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that right in.
Yeah. You're gonna be all right. Yeah.
When you're that close to Alabama, Alabama? Sorry, I have anything wrong with Alabama.
No. Bama.
We're also going to be putting in our Worcestershire sauce, and I have hot pepper sauce. And I don't know if any of you guys watch the show Hot Ones on YouTube, but it's basically a show where people eat increasingly hot chicken wings while being interviewed. And it's a hilarious, hilarious show because they go from like Tabasco sauce all the way up to what they call the last dab, which is a 2 million Scoville hot sauce. Guess what we just put in there?
No.
It's not that hot. I used it on Monday as well. It's actually not spicy.
It's called the last dab.
It's called the last dab because they toss the wings in that sauce and then they put an extra dab on at the very end. Very, very funny show. Highly recommend it. We're just going to get this kind of stirred up so that it has a chance to kind of mix. But yeah, I put it in this on Monday because I was like, oh, I want to see how hot I can make this, and it wasn't hot at all.
Gotcha.
I agree with Felicia that Disneyland is better.
Disneyland is better, yet I do like Animal Kingdom. We don't have that here really. Like we have the zoos and stuff, but it's not that cool. Let's see.
I totally endorse the San Diego Zoo.
San Diego Zoo is actually fun.
The San Diego Wild Animal Park is very cool too.
I don't think I've been there. I've been to the zoo. We're going to put in the rest of our Cajun seasoning here, and we're going to add our meats back in. We got our chicken, we got our sausage, meats, and you're going to put all the juices back in there as well. If you're vegetarian, I'm sorry, because this is a very meat-heavy dish. You can very likely use tofu or any kind of meat substitute. I'm sure that it would work just as well. You might want to add a little bit more oil, just because you're not going to have some of the natural fats that come with meat. Yep, portobellos would probably work really well in this. We're just going to kind of get this stirred around and distributed. And it smells amazing in my kitchen.
Laura Clarkson is a travel agent who specializes in Disney.
Yes, she is. Laura Clarkson. I've got another friend. Yes, Laura Clarkson definitely does Disney. We're just gonna let this kind of marinate for about 5 minutes, and then we will stir in our chicken broth and our rice. So,
Very nice.
Oh, let's get our okra in here as well.
Got more
Yeah, I was like,
sold and deep fried okra.
What was that?
It's a Mac Dre line.
Oh, I don't know it.
Got more sold and deep fried okra.
Oh, there we go. That makes sense. I actually was surprised that I found fresh okra.
Yeah.
I went straight to the freezer section and got the little, individually quick frozen okras, and then I went over to the produce section. They had bags of okra, and I was like,
Nice.
okay.
Why not? Yeah.
I guess I'll use this.
My mom is from Kansas City. She's lived in the South, and this will be my first time having okra ever in my life.
What?
I'm 3 years old.
The unfortunate thing is you're not going to taste it in this.
Okay, fine. And I know she's on here. I don't know if she's still watching, but that was a shout out to my mother.
So we're actually going to pour our chicken stock into our tomato can, and we're going to rinse all of the tomatoes off of the side. And we're just going to get that poured in. We want about 3 cups. If you put a little bit extra, it's not a huge deal. You'll just have a wetter jambalaya, or you can let it cook down a little bit longer. Get this all stirred up, make sure that it's nice and thoroughly stirred.
There's something to do with the bell pepper.
I know, that blew my mind.
Right?
And that also brings up a point that if you're getting this cooked and it starts getting too thick and you feel like it's really, really gloopy, you can always add more stock because it'll make it a little bit wetter. It'll still keep the flavor, and that's just how you kind of keep it going longer, or just bring it back from being too dry. And remember, like, you can have everything measured out to a T, and sometimes just based on the heat of the kitchen that you're in, the cooking element that you're working on, how you cover it, things are going to evaporate and change differently. So every recipe, unless you're baking, is pretty much just a guide. So if you're like, oh, this looks really, really, really dry and kind of like more like oatmeal than jambalaya, what I expect jambalaya to be, add more chicken stock, add more water, add whatever you'd like. Just take it to what you want it to be, because you don't have to make it, there is no perfect. Nothing is perfect ever. Just make it as good as you can.
And the moisture content in the vegetables.
Yes.
Very.
100%. If you have super, super watery vegetables, or you add too much salt and it pulls more of the moisture out, you'll have a watery dish, so you might want to add less stock. It's really kind of up to what the recipe's doing. So you kind of got to watch what you're doing and see how it's reacting. So I'm actually going to keep the chicken stock out while this simmers. And I'm going to let this boil a little bit, and then we're adding the rice. And that's good. Oh, key lime pie would have been great. My stepmom actually loves key lime pie.
Yeah, I could have made that for you today.
She makes a good key lime pie as well. You're celebrating. You're not allowed to do anything. What was that?
I said any pie is great, but I do love key lime.
Key lime is a pretty tasty pie.
Yeah.
We're gonna get.
I just got a cookbook. It's called Red Pepper. Apparently, that's really highly renowned. And
Ooh.
key lime pie, and they've been meaning to try it. They would have never been perfect. Robert.
I told you what we were making, so you could have extrapolated from that.
All
And
you told me was bring wine.
I said we're making jambalaya. I said we're making jambalaya.
He covered the important things.
Exactly.
I don't have very many drinks in my fridge. I don't drink that much. I really only drink on Fridays when I'm cooking, because that's a good time to drink. So, yeah.
I only drink on days that end with wine.
And with why, yeah. Cool, so we've got this going. It's simmering. I'm actually going to turn it down to like a medium simmer. And we're going to get a lid on this. We're going to loosely cover it and let it simmer.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it on the first one, I was like, I want that.
So then why don't we have it yet?
What was that? I think it was like $70 or $80.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap. I really want to replace that one.
Range,
I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah.
it's awful. So I was like, what if we get one of those things that Robert was cooking on? And he didn't believe me that it was.
No, it's a single burner. You can get dual burners, but the single ones are just more flexible. They actually work a little bit nicer too, because it's focused. The engineering is better for one burner as opposed to trying to do two. All right, cool. So we got this going. It's going to be simmering for about 25 to 30 minutes. And while we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and get started with our cornbread. And look at that. I have conveniently measured everything out for myself.
Pamela wants to know, what's a party? What's a party, Pamela?
People miss parties.
Yeah.
It's allowed. There's less than 6 of us.
4 people is a party, so you know that's what I'm going with here.
Katie Jackson says it's not like a party in this book.
Oh yeah,
Katie?
yeah. Rod knows Katie. So we got a cup of flour. We're going to put that in here. We got a cup of cornmeal, yellow cornmeal. You can use white if you want, but yellow is going to look more like traditional cornbread. And again, these are just olive containers that I'm repurposing. I washed them in the sink, and now they're just yummy. 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Is it 3/4 or 2/3? Somebody correct me because I don't even remember my own recipe. We've got all of this in. We've got our baking soda and our salt. And they're in. That's why I pre-measured, so I don't have to go and like read everything over again.
Baking soda and salt. Not salt and sugar.
No, baking soda and
Wait,
salt.
what is salt and sugar?
Salger?
Salger.
Salger?
It's called
I
salger.
invented a new spice.
I don't.
Salger.
I'm gonna use a whisk and just kind of incorporate these. And you're gonna notice that this looks very, very strangely similar to exactly what you get in those boxes of cornbread that you can buy at the store. Guess what? They're using the exact same ingredients. I know. We're also gonna throw in 1 egg, which if you look at the back of one of those boxes, that's what you're putting into that. And we're gonna put in a cup of milk, which is the same, and whatever the measurement is of oil, which is the same.
Much. Exactly this much.
You don't have a touchscreen laptop, so it's just like I can't go straight to the message.
No touch screen, unfortunately. I'm gonna use my whisk and just kind of get it incorporated. Whisks are the easiest way to stir.
You have a bunch of different sizes of whisks
I only have this one, and then I have a smaller whisk.
for like eggs and omelets and all that.
Yeah, it's for one of those hand mixers.
Oh, okay, got it.
I use it as a whisk. We're gonna stir this. There's no gluten in this, so there's no real fear of like over mixing it or anything like that. So just stir it until it's all combined. Now I'm gonna let this sit for, I don't know, about 2 minutes. And the reason I'm letting it sit is because I gotta go preheat my oven and also get my cast iron skillet. Thank you.
Fezzik is a sweetheart.
Fezzik is the best dog ever.
What? Yes. I love this little pupper.
All right.
Yeah, so if you do go out of town ever again, like
Oh, of course.
to family reunion,
Yeah, for sure.
whatever, I will definitely, if I'm not at family reunion, stay with Fezzik.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grease this cast iron skillet. I use butter. You know why? Because it works the best. And I'm literally just going to float it, press it into the bottom. You don't need a very thick layer. It doesn't take very much to go around, but you do want to make sure that it's all covered. And the difference between this and Pam spray or any other like cooking spray that you can use is this actually sticks to the sides of the pan. The Pam spray doesn't. It actually kind of runs and just kind of pools up in the bottom. You'll notice that there is no pooling of anything in here because it's butter. It's fat. This also cooks a lot better and gives you a nicer golden crust on the outside, whereas Pam doesn't do anything.
So I've got a question. How do you clean your cast iron skillet? I've heard many different variations. So what's the best way to cook in a cast iron?
I just make sure that I eat everything that's in it and it's clean.
Okay, so do it with like a soap and sponge work?
I usually use, if I can't get everything off of it, what I will do is I'll actually get the steel wool and just burn through it. And a lot of people are going to say, oh no, the seasoning. Yes, you do destroy the seasoning. You have to reseason the pan. Yet I don't generally have to do that very often because once you get your cast iron skillet seasoned, it's better than nonstick.
Okay.
And so when you first get a new cast iron skillet, you literally just get the hottest heat oil you can find, toss it in your oven at 500 degrees for like 5 days straight at as hot as the oven will go. Not cooking for 5 days straight. You put it in for an hour, you turn it off and let it cool, and then the next day you put a coat of oil, put it back in for 500 degrees for an hour, let it cool. Your house is going to smell terrible. You will never have to clean your cast iron again because it'll be slick as nonstick.
Because I want to get a cast iron skillet for like brownies and
Yep.
baked goods, but I also want to maybe if I want to do like fajitas, I don't want brownies that taste like fajitas.
Oh no. Those that'll come out.
That's what I asked.
That'll come out 100%. So we're just going to go ahead and pour our batter into our cast iron skillet. You can use a baking pan if you want, like a 9x9 or an 8x8. Really, the size of the pan is just going to affect the thickness of the cornbread. So if you want thinner cornbread, use a wider skillet or a larger pan. It might also shorten the cook time a little bit because you have more surface area getting exposed to heat. That's really the only difference, and it's not going to affect the cook time that much. It might shorten it by a couple minutes.
Who wants to know where the hell Janet is?
I could actually go get jalapenos from my garden.
Yeah.
And if you would like some jalapenos in your jambalaya, you are more than welcome to add them yourself.
And Laura wants to know, and the cheddar cheese.
Ooh, yeah.
Cheese.
I had some cheddar cheese that...
And maybe smoked bacon.
All right, guys. You know, I'm here cooking for y'all. All right?
Oh, shut up. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good. I'm kidding.
Cornbread classic.
Yeah.
I like sweet cornbread, all right? So I'm not into the savory cornbread. I want cornbread to taste like I'm eating dessert with my dinner. And then you add salted butter.
Yeah, good basic recipe to do whatever you want to it.
Yep.
Bacon or jalapenos or cheddar.
And my stepmom Cindy was talking about using buttermilk instead of regular milk. I believe the ratio is going to be the same, just a cup of buttermilk, but then add an extra little bit of sugar because it's going to be a little bit more tart. So
If you don't have buttermilk, you know how you get buttermilk?
I do, but I forgot. I would have to look it up.
It's your like regular milk and then lemon juice.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. So we got that going. Once our oven is up to temperature, we'll put it in. And this is also another 20 or 30 minute thing. So it's going to be coming out just slightly after we're done with our jambalaya. We're going to open this up and just give it a quick stir. And now we're really in the home stretch. Like we're just waiting on this to finish. We're waiting for the rice to cook. And then we're going to add some shrimp at the very end.
Shrimps?
Shrimps?
Shrimp.
Yes.
Can we watch Forrest Gump later?
Yeah, we could put it on while we're eating for sure. Talk about Bubba Gump.
I think I've seen that once.
Ooh, honey butter. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep, honey butter is awesome.
What is that?
Cornbread.
Kayla, you are actually speaking my language.
Yeah.
Cornbread with honey. I make cornbread and I think that was chili.
Ooh, yeah.
But I did bowl.
Cool, so we'll set this to...
Bowl is a national holiday.
I don't care about food, but I don't care about sports, but I like the food.
Well, I'm a sports fan. Like I'm a huge sports fan, so it's just like.
Yes, Super Bowl for me is all about the snacks.
Yes.
Any football for me is about the snacks. And the company. And the commercials. Laura, I learned how to cook, so I was talking about how I learned how to cook, and I got sidetracked, but basically, after I really got into once I moved back down from Idaho, after I had kind of taught myself how to do a lot of stuff up there, I saw Hell's Kitchen Season 5, Gordon Ramsay, and I saw him being an asshole to all of his cooks in his kitchen, yet he's at such a level that he knows what he's talking about to the point that nobody can argue with him, and that's the kind of person who super inspires me. And so I went out and got a couple of his cookbooks, and the first real meal that I cooked was actually salmon larded halibut with like a spring onion cream sauce from one of his cookbooks. Super bougie, super like high-end dinner. You're literally threading salmon through halibut steaks. It was pretty incredible.
How long did that take you?
All day. But that was the first thing that I'd ever cooked. Like if you're really good, and I didn't have the right tools for it, so I'm sitting here like trying to finagle like salmon through. Oh my god! Because you can get like they actually have meat threading tools that you can use. I couldn't find them anywhere. So what I did was I took a zucchini corer and like cored through the halibut, and then like tried using that to thread it, and it was such a pain, but it worked. And it came out delicious. That and a mushroom risotto. That was what I made for my first meal. So I was sitting there cooking for like, I think the cook time was like 3.5 hours or something like that. And it was my dad, my stepmom, and 2 of their friends. And I think that's all. I don't remember if my sister was there or not. But it was delicious. It was wonderful. And then from that point, I was just like, I love cooking. This is what I'm gonna do. And then I just worked on getting faster at it. And focusing on flavor and presentation and really learning the why and not what they tell you the why is on TV or on shows. Because if you're watching Gordon Ramsay, he's actually not telling you the truth a lot of the time. He's giving you like the layman's way of kind of describing it. So he's making sense. yet there is more complexity to it than what he or like Alton Brown is probably the closest to getting to the real science behind the cooking. And he goes into like, okay, well, you're doing this because now you're forming this crust and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes even he is not 100% accurate. But it's really hard to get into that like food science level of stuff and not have people's eyes glaze over and, you know, stop watching. Which is why I do this and kind of explain things as I'm doing them. And, you know, it's just what I've experienced with it. So, but yeah, you just got to kind of enjoy. Like, this is all supposed to be fun. And now we're at a point where everything's cooking. Everything's kind of been timed right. All we're waiting for is the big finish at the end.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. Unfortunately, we have to wait another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Although,
Yeah.
we do also have, for our enjoyment,
Oh, look at this guy.
a bowl of tabbouleh, because I know that one of us is a vegetarian.
Great.
So we've got
That's so nice.
fresh tabbouleh,
Ooh, yummy.
and the cornbread is technically not 100% vegetarian because it has eggs and milk in it.
Oh, that's vegan.
That's vegan.
You're right, so it's good.
Yeah.
Some people do consider eggs still to be meat, though.
Yeah, some people do.
So,
I was like, I had an egg this morning.
Yeah, I used to be vegan. Then I stopped because I went to Mexico and I was like, I want to eat cheese.
yeah, this is also a great accompaniment for a spicy jambalaya dish anyway. So,
Chips and dip, or is it for me to be okay? So it's,
Yes.
it's a food group. It's a yeah, chips and
It's
dip.
the main one. It's the bottom part of the
Right. Yeah.
May, I am drinking some of Haley's Robert Mondavi bourbon barrel wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, which is delicious. And at the same time, I'm drinking a very old, well, 1 year old Sierra Nevada Celebration, which is an IPA. So
They want to dust my mom.
I'm just double fisting over here.
Favorite, yeah.
It's a really good beer. I've got some if you'd want one.
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah. She's right. She'd be a great cook now.
All right, I'm going to switch over to you guys over there in the.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be on camera in a second, so say hi. So I set the table up. Usually the table's over there, which is why that's kind of shoved in the corner. I moved it over there just in case you guys wanted to sit, and I didn't know how the group dynamic was going to work over here. But yeah, so here's my group who's here for dinner tonight. Rod is one of my colleagues. Haley is also technically a colleague, yet now she works for staging, doing interior design and awesome stuff. And then Rod's family, they are here as well.
That's Darla and oh, I don't.
You're up on the screen. Unless you're looking at the camera. Oh,
I'm just curious which camera it is.
the one that you're looking at right now.
The one that you're looking at, but there's
On
no way.
That one.
Yep.
How would tell you? You give him a real estate license, became a trainer.
I'm slow on the uptake, but I'm good at other stuff.
Yeah.
There's 3 spinny chairs.
There's 3 spin. There's actually 2 more in the back. Like I said, this used to be my dad's office, so we got a lot of office equipment. I literally last week finally removed the desk from the front. There was a desk there that had computers and stuff on it, and I finally just was like, I got to get rid of this if I'm gonna have people over.
How long ago did you move in here to make this your residence?
Dad retired in October, so it's been a while. But the desk has actually been kind of like a catch-all for anything that comes into the house, like mail and stuff. And I was finally like, you know what, I got to move that out of there and actually put it into my office. The desk isn't in the office. The desk is no longer a desk. But now I'm using my office as the office.
Gotcha.
And I've turned the front into kind of the exercise area because it's right on the street, super loud usually during the day. Not now since nobody's driving anymore, but generally speaking, it's a louder area.
People are driving more. Traffic was a nightmare.
Was it?
Yeah, so I was over at my parents' house in Rossmore,
Mhm.
and so I got onto the 680 at Olympic. Saw the traffic. I'm like, no, taking me to Acacia. Yeah, so it's gonna take me to Trees and go up that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't that bad. Ava and I were in Berkeley until 5. We left Berkeley at 5:05 and made it back to our house, which is right around the corner, by 5:45. So it took us 40 minutes.
That's
at
still not
5
too bad.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, usually it's like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
You know the freeway in LA, the 405? It's called the 405 because it takes 405 hours to get here. And yes, I say that from the freeway, they said it was in California.
I talked so
I
much.
say that about Southern California freeways.
So you can see the jambalaya is starting to get thicker.
Oh, really?
And I may actually end up adding a little bit more of the chicken stock to this just to kind of keep it a little bit wet. But I'm going to let it keep going for now. I'm just keeping an eye on it and letting you know what my thought process is. And the jambalaya is really done once the rice is cooked.
Loma?
And some of the thickening action comes from the okra. I don't know if you've ever cut okra before, but it's got that really slimy interior, the really slimy kind of center. That helps thicken the sauce, whatever that is made out of. So you can either use that, you can use cornstarch if you want, I wouldn't, or flour if you really want to thicken it. I would just let it cook off if I didn't have okra. You can also use something called file, which I've never used, but apparently it is a thickener. So those are some of the options for you here. And we're doing Creole style, which means that we're using the tomatoes for the sauce. You can also do a Cajun style, which does not use the tomatoes. I'm not a huge expert on Southern style cooking, yet one of my friends, Joey, I don't know if he's watching or not, Joey, his wife is from Louisiana, and he kind of went on like a gumbo
She moved back here.
spirit walk or whatever. Like he's basically made gumbo 1,000 or more times, and he was definitely giving me a lot of tips on how to make a good jambalaya, a good authentic jambalaya. So take it for what it is. Jambalaya is almost done. We're still also waiting on the cornbread, and then we're good to plate up and make it look pretty. And we all know that the prettier something looks on the plate, the tastier it is.
Absolutely.
We got 11 minutes left on the cornbread. I'm just going to check it and make sure that it's not...
I'm a snack. That's why I lay on the plate.
I'm going to turn the temperature down on this because it's browning a little bit quicker than I'd like.
I like what you got going on over there too. Is that a little convection oven?
It is. It is it is fantastic. It does everything.
So my question is,
And it holds a turkey.
why did you use the convection oven like that instead of the regular oven?
This oven is terrible.
Okay,
That is why.
Ruby.
Yeah, I don't like it. The buttons don't work. Like they work half of the time and the other half they don't work. At some point I'd like to replace it. Yet I would like to do insulation stuff first. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my priority once I get to the point where I'm able to do that.
Right. You do a spray insulation.
I could do spray.
That was one of the least fun things.
You talking about spray foam or blown in?
Just blown in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the roof pitch is not tall enough to really lend itself to being able to do bat insulation. Because I'd like to do bat because I know that the blown in does eventually settle and lose its R value.
Right.
Yet it would be a pain to get it into those
All the
little
way
corners.
back in the corners.
Yeah. So I'll probably just end up doing blown and then like check it yearly and see if it's settled very much or not.
Right. Or you know, blast blown in the areas that you can't easily get to, and then
I guess I could do that, yeah.
do the bats in the rest of the area.
For sure, that is definitely another option. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of clean off my work surface. I'm not doing a deep clean, I'm just kind of rubbing everything off. I'm not doing any more prep on the table. Everything else is gonna be on a plate. So I'm just gonna get these guys kind of out of the way into the sink.
I like that cutting board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I use the small, I have the small one over there I use for meat. And then I'll just flip it off or like clean it off. It's sanitized and cleaned from the chicken and everything that I prepped earlier, but then I'll just use this one for only vegetables and whatever I'm cooking while I'm cooking.
Nice.
Bird and red wine. Ask my mother what's bird. Beer.
Yeah, she's trying to say beer.
Oh, okay.
She also
just had a couple of them.
Is May drinking beer too?
My mom's not a beer drinker.
is she drinking red wine?
No, she usually vodka martini.
Oh yeah, there's Joey. Josiah Peters is the one who went on the gumbo spirit walk. So
What?
he went on like a gumbo journey. How many times did you cook gumbo, man? I went up to, so they all live in Idaho. I have a lot of friends who live in Boise.
Okay.
Went to visit him, and I think like every day that I was there, he was cooking gumbo. And I think it was like 2 days for one batch of gumbo, and then he like took a break and then did another batch of gumbo. And I was like this is awesome. I'm loving the food that you're making, so I'm down.
Wow.
But he cooked a lot of gumbo, so he's kind of I would consider him the person I would go to if I had questions about Southern style cooking, because he probably knows the answer better than I do.
Really?
Oh yeah. This is getting pretty close to being done. I think we're at like 7 or 8 minutes on that. Yep, we're at 8 minutes exactly. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my shrimp out.
Do you have any more wine? I'm getting low.
I do have more wine, yes.
Perfect. Perfect. I don't believe.
It
Robert, can I use your restaurant?
Yes, first door on the right.
Do you wanna?
He's gonna probably want to hang out with you while you're in there.
She's like, that's fine.
Having a rescue dog, my dog's a rescue, you'll never go to the bathroom by yourself ever again.
So we're gonna take our shrimp and just kind of layer it on top here. Hey, no barking.
Why, Pheasant? Who are you talking to?
Whoever's motoring outside.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get this kind of mixed in after we set it on top. And shrimp is one of those, shrimp actually cooks at room temperature. So if you leave shrimp out, it's gonna start cooking. It's gonna turn orange, it's gonna turn like that salmon pink color. And that's why we put it back in water. If you have ice to use in your water, after you peel it and get it all ready, put it in ice water because then you know that the shrimp's not gonna cook. You wanna basically get it prepped as quickly as you can and back in something really cold, which is why I had it sitting in water and then back in the fridge because I don't want it to turn pink while it's at room temperature. Not a good look. Hey, stop barking. Don't make me put you in the closet with the kitty.
No, not in the closet, Fezzy.
It's not a closet.
No.
It's just my room.
Oh, Katie wants to know, what's the difference between gumbo and jambalaya?
That is a great question. Gumbo is usually a little bit thicker, and Joey can probably go into way more detail about this than I can. Gumbo is usually thickened with something. You make a roux, you start with a roux base, so you're using flour and butter and turning that into a nice kind of roasty flavor, and then you're using that as your base for everything. I believe gumbo also doesn't use the same proteins that jambalaya does. I might be wrong on that, so Joey can definitely give you more information on that. Let's see.
Usually gumbo has okra in it.
Right, and he was also telling me that my jambalaya usually doesn't, so...
Gumbo is made from a root, and more like a jambalaya is a rice dressing, or like a paella.
Yes,
I said that right.
Yeah.
you did say paella, right.
Delicious.
So you can see I just put these guys on top, and some of them are already kind of turning a little bit orange, and that's not just the seasoning. Let me do that view. It's not just the seasoning. You can see the edges are kind of turning pink, especially on this guy, like the bottom part here is already being cooked. And that's just being exposed to a little bit of heat from the bottom. We're actually gonna stir these guys in and then lit it for about 5 minutes and they'll cook all the way through.
Ooh, la okay. Ooh,
And
la
then
la.
our
Katie.
our jambalaya will be done probably right about the same time our cornbread is. And the cool thing is, while the cornbread is out and cooling so that we can cut it and serve it and eat it, our jambalaya will be being plated. So we're kind of timing things just right today.
That was a really classy joke. It was multicultural. French in it.
Are you talking about Katie's roux la la?
Yeah.
Very good.
Roux la la. That's what I say every morning when I wake up and look in the mirror. Okay, I'm not going to give up my day job.
Ava says the X that's in it that we didn't pronounce makes it classy.
Oh, roux, yes.
Yeah.
As opposed to roux.
Yeah.
Raux.
That's less classy.
Raux la la. Doesn't sound as good.
Raux is what you would use.
Sounds like you're clearing your raux.
Yeah. That's if you're making a hollandaise and you're having to thicken it.
Oh yes.
And you're using a Raux.
Then you've been roused. You're not using a roust, you've been roused.
I actually talked to a client today who's from Louisiana, and his accent was so thick, it took me probably 15 seconds into the conversation to orient myself.
Yeah.
To be able to understand him.
Joey's wife is from Louisiana, and she's gone from having a super thick Southern accent to being more of a light Southern accent. And both were pleasant, yet now she's just like so charming. I love listening to her talk. I'm just like, talk more, Kim. They actually have a blog on YouTube where they're kind of going over like raising their family and stuff that they're doing, just family stuff. And I watch it just for her accent and all the cool like crafting and things that she does as well. She does a lot of, she's a teacher, so she does a lot of really cool stuff. Yet I'm just like, talk more. Yeah.
My favorite Southern saying is "bless your heart."
Bless your heart is a good one.
See, that covers so much.
Things.
And
So many things it can cover. there.
I actually used to say that I was never going to say y'all, and then I realized that it's the perfect PC way to address people.
Y'all.
You just say, hey, y'all.
Y'all.
Yeah.
So.
So,
I can't go to a group of women and be like, hey guys, what's going on? Yeah. I say y'all you all are.
yeah.
And
Y'all.
y'all would have.
Yep, that's a good one.
My dad lives in Texas, and when he texts me, he says "y'aller." So there's a Y-A''LL''RE.
Yep.
Oh.
Multiple conjugations. Gotta love it.
2 apostrophes, 1 word.
Hey, Aaron,
Wow.
how's it going? Yeah, this is a delicious dish. I've been eating this all week, and still gonna eat it tonight. So I'm not super tired of it, but
So how many nights in a row now have you been eating jambalaya?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday I went and got Taco Bell. So 4,
Okay.
and also for lunch. So
Wow.
that's how much I had.
He had to break it up with Taco Bell. Have you been to the...
Yes, Kim, that's exactly, you are the only reason, your voice. I'm kidding. I love the content as well.
Los Portales?
Yes.
Hmm.
It's over in the Safeway Shopping Center. At the
Oh, they just opened it, right? It used to be the Asian restaurant?
It used to be a sushi place a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah. And then that closed. I didn't like the sushi place.
I never went there.
I love sushi, and
I went there a long
It was
time
okay.
when I was younger. I hadn't been there. In
but that place is good.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's my favorite burrito in this area.
I definitely have to try it.
Their Al
and
Pastor
their
is banging. And their
crispy tacos
Yeah.
are incredible
Ooh,
too.
yum.
Yeah.
My first cook-along was Taco Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Because that's what I so when I really got into cooking, that's what we did. Every week we would go to my dad's house, I'd make tacos, and family would help and everything. And so we'd do that, and then we'd watch American Idol, and then after American Idol, Hell's Kitchen was on. So like it was that. And what would happen is after dinner, my sister and her good friend Hannah would go and get frozen yogurt, and then that was our dessert after we did the cook-along and everything. And so that was our Tuesday night. And then unfortunately, they all got married and moved away, and so I'm now the table flip.
I was gonna say, where are they?
Yeah. Now I'm just here all alone, so I invite my friends because I don't have anybody. Anyway, no, I'm kidding.
No need to come back. We're enjoying the food.
Yeah. Yes, don't come back. These people are more cool. I think my brother-in-law actually requested the jambalaya, and he requested it 3 weeks ago. And I was like, well, I'm already doing something next week. And he's like, well, the week after that, I'm going to be gone doing whatever I'm doing. I was like, cool, 3 weeks.
Ooh, the cornbread looks
Perfect.
good.
So I've been like planning this for a while.
So where are they?
Moraga, like they're not far.
Oh, okay.
They're in Moraga, and they couldn't schlep all the way down here.
Hey, I can give them shit for anything, right?
I live in Pleasant Hill, and I was able to get my.
Exactly.
Ooh, are you guys ready for this?
Ooh,
Here's the
okay.
cornbread.
Ooh.
What?
We'll just do that and show you what the cornbread looks like.
perfect.
Oh, that looks
Oh my
amazing.
I'm going to set this over here on the granite,
What's your username on Twitch?
which is PSYRIXX.
What's Twitch?
You'll find me on
It says streaming.
yeah. You'll find me anywhere on the internet as
Is that
Cyrix.
like Twitter?
I don't know.
No, it's nothing like Twitter. It's way cooler than
Is
Twitter.
it like U-Book?
Yeah.
No,
Is it like
one day,
my book
I-
face? Yeah. My
One
book
of
face.
these days, there's gonna be new social platforms. It's gonna be YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter all put together. And it's gonna be called YouTwitface.
There we go.
Ah,
You
I've
twit
been
face.
called worse. So where did this PSYRIX come from?
So back in the day, Mortal Kombat was one of those games that nobody who was an adult liked, and all of us kids loved it, right? Because it was super violent and fun. And so there was a character in it, and I've also, so a long time ago, I used to draw a webcomic, and I was trying to think up. Let me start at the beginning.
Okay.
Back in the day, once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, Spock and Kirk. No, I played a game called Marathon, and so all of my friends called me Marathon, but it was named after a game. I thought that was dumb, and I was not a marathon runner at the time, so I never thought that I would be, and decided that was not a nickname that I wanted. So I started looking at various people to kind of model a nickname off of, and Mortal Kombat had a character who matched the character that I was drawing in my webcomics. Cybernetic, like half human, half robot. His name was Cyrax, and it was Cyrax. Cyrix, I think. And so I didn't want to just copy that name because that's unoriginal. So, but I like the sound of it. So I wanted to kind of do like, okay, well, I can take the C and make it a PS. So I Psyrix. Didn't look right because it's too short. It looked almost like a product name. So I was just like, I'll just add an X, and it worked. So now it's Cyrix, and it works, and that's what I've been ever since. And I own the handle everywhere except I think one place. I think Tumblr is the only place I'm not Cyrix. I think I'm Cyrix1 because it was the only place that somebody already owned the nickname, and it was probably me registering it and forgetting what my password was, and not being able to log because there's no content on that page. It's just somebody registered the name. So
let me ask, am I the only one here that's never seen Star Wars or Star Trek? I haven't seen Star Trek.
why are you here?
I've never seen. I tried to watch Star Wars and I fell asleep.
The first one is boring.
The one in Prosper, is that Star Wars?
No, that is not Star Wars. Get out.
Oh my god.
No jambalaya for you. You should have waited till after dinner.
Have you seen Patton Oswalt's bit on all of the
I'm sure I have.
the newer the ones that came out after the first 3 that we saw?
They made more?
Yeah.
They,
Prequels, yeah.
what? They made prequels?
May wants to see us.
So who?
May.
I've been showing the guests. Okay, fine. There we go. Guests. They're all over there.
It's my mother.
I don't know what to do with my hand.
I got 6th grade days. Oh, I know, like prom, like, you know, smile.
Mom, what are you asking about Wednesday? I don't get that. Did I say Wednesday tacos? It was Tuesday tacos. Taco Tuesday. I don't know what else you might be talking about. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's where I got Cyrix from, and it's just kind of been back in the day. Back in the day, I was a hacker type. Back before it became illegal. When I was under 18.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Well, when you're a minor, they can't charge you for it, but when you're over 18, they can. So I stopped. Your rice is still stiff. Attributed. Yep, definitely. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where I was saying. Depending on where you are, like the liquid content might change. So if you need to add more liquid and let it cook for a little bit longer, definitely do that. Right now it's like 95 in the house. You can tell that I'm getting kind of sweaty, and I think everybody else in here is as well.
I put my hair and it's now frizzy.
Yep, we got frizzy hair over there. And I've got this cooking. I've got my oven on, so it's a little bit warm in here. Oven's off now, but it was on. Should be off.
Is Cindy your sister or your mom?
Stepmom. Cindy's my stepmom. Rachel's my sister. Jack is my dad. Pamela is my mom. I said I had jambalaya. Yes, I had jambalaya Monday, Tuesday. Oh, I was at Mom's house on Wednesday. I'm sorry, I lied. But I did have it for lunch. I did have it for lunch on Wednesday.
Where does Mom live?
Mom's in Blackhawk. Dad and Cindy are in a mobile home, motor home, not a mobile home, luxury RV. And they are touring the country. So right now they're in Sedona, Arizona, I believe.
Nice.
And they are enjoying their retirement. I get pictures all the time.
Both things. It's mobile and motor.
Yep, and freaking amazing.
I'll bet.
So they're wherever they are, and they're just joining in and cooking along with me as well,
rad.
which is awesome. And then sisters in Orinda or Moraga, way on the other side of the hill. So
How many siblings do you have?
just my sister.
Gotcha.
And then all of my friends from my internet days, I consider them family as well. All right, I think we're about ready with the jambalaya, so let's take a look.
Robert through his sister Rachel.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Haley.
how do you know Rachel?
Through a marketing meeting that she and I would always go to on Thursday mornings in Danville for us local Danville people. So, yeah.
So we have CCRIM, they have RMA.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, my brother and I and some friends are going out for sushi and drinks one night. I'm like, okay.
Yep, so
Yeah.
Haley joined us for sushi and beer, which was another staple of mine. And actually I still, well, not now, but when we're allowed to go out, my cousin and I go out and get sushi and beer regularly. He's blind.
Restaurants are opening out, like dining outdoors.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Piatti's in Danville is open. My mom's birthday's on Monday, so.
Ooh, happy birthday, May.
Yeah, so we're going to Piatti's. And it's like dining, like inside the restaurant.
Oh, cool.
And actually, now that you bring that up, my uncle's birthday is today. My uncle actually has 2 birthdays.
Happy birthday, Uncle.
How do you have 2 birthdays?
He was born at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Very
So he celebrates on the 12th and then also on the 13th. And he says, hey, you know, I'm actually 130 years old.
Wow.
I do my
Making it
birthday and my
happen.
half birthday. My best friend was born on my half birthday, so we always remember each other's birthdays.
Love that.
Yeah.
He was born at midnight.
Not exactly at midnight, like the
I
night
mean,
was happening.
that's his story. He can
Yeah.
tell it however he wants to.
But
But
you've heard those about those pregnancies and women giving birth. It's like twins. It's like one twins born at 11:59 and the other one's born at
Yeah.
12:01.
Yeah.
so we've got this going. It's still on. I'm actually going to turn it down. I don't need to cook this anymore. So I'm just going to keep the pot hot so that the jambalaya stays warm while I'm cooking it. If you really want to get fancy, you can actually turn your oven on just to like the lowest setting, like 170, I think is like the lowest they go. Toss your plates in there, toss your bowls in there, whatever you're serving. Everything will stay warm a little longer, but be careful because this is going to be hot when you pick it up. So use a thing, pot holder, or use a doily or whatever, and just make sure you don't like sear your hands because I've done that before. It's not fun.
What's your favorite sushi place?
Favorite sushi place was Happy Roll. Happy Roll got bought by another company that did not do it justice, in my opinion. So I don't go there anymore. Now I go to the place in the veranda.
Oh, yeah. I know
They
what you're
have
talking about.
awesome sushi and ramen and every like
It's so good.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's that place. How come I can't think of it? Mikuni.
Yep, Mikuni.
Oh, yes.
They
We
have
did go
everything
there.
I've had there has been really good.
Yes.
So there's a couple of different ways you can serve this. Now, generally with rice, I like to use like an upside down bowl, something like this, or even one of the plastic ones like the Olive Jars. The Olive Garden? No, never go to the Olive Garden. Their food is terrible. But I like to use one of these.
The breadsticks?
Oh God, their breadsticks are so bad.
I'm just kidding.
It's not
I
even
think I've been there
food. It's not even
once.
food, man. I wouldn't. Anyway, I'll use this and I'll pack the rice down, and then you can just flip it upside down and it give you a really nice shape. Jambalaya has so much stuff in it with the all of the protein that you have, the shrimp, the sausage, and everything. That's not going to work. So I just kind of layer it on. This actually kind of looks more rustic and actually looks kind of fun. Now, one of the other things that we're going to do with this, I'm going to make sure that that's hot. So I'm going to move it this way and just kind of get it out of my way. It's your kitchen. You're going to clean it later. Put stuff wherever you want to. I'm going to grab some onions and some cilantro. No cilantro, parsley.
Oh my gosh! So cooking stuff raw, being so mercy. I was making chicken piccata.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I love chicken piccata. And I accidentally grabbed the cilantro. and
Yeah, that's
parsley,
gonna-
And yeah, that was not fun.
That's definitely going to give it a different flavor.
Yeah, that was fun.
And we're just going to use the green part of the onion. And we're just going to very, very kind of finely slice the end. And if you want to be super fancy, you're actually going to cut it at an angle like this. So you turn the onion to an angle and just slice it that way. And what you end up getting is really long, slender onion greens. Doesn't take you any longer to cook them or cut them. And you get these really cool, like, slivery pieces of onion that we're going to top on top of our jambalaya here. And then we're just going to kind of pinch off some of the leaves on the parsley. And we're going to do the exact same thing. Roll this up like you would the basil that I've shown you how to do. Just kind of get it into like a cigar shape and just keep rolling it until it's just...
Then you julienne it.
And then you julienne right through it. Haley called it.
Thank you for the Food Network. Yeah, that's like 50.
There you go. You only want to cut through it once. And you just kind of garnish on top like so.
Can I be the taste tester person, please?
You all get to
Chef?
taste test this one, and then you all get a plate to yourself once we're done. I'm going to, for my cornbread, this is still probably pretty hot and might burn my cutting board, yet I'm going to put it over here anyway. Let's switch over to this screen. I'm going to go around the outside like this. You'll notice that the cornbread is already releasing. Like it's not sticking to anything because we use butter and not Pam. You still want to kind of score around the outside just to make sure that it's totally released. And then I like to cut just right down the middle. Like so. And then again like this.
You notice that there's 4 pieces, but there's 5 of us.
We're not done. This gives you a good idea of what the portion size should be. If you have a bunch of people, you can cut them down into smaller pieces. So here I'm just going to actually do half of my half in both directions. Like that, and then like this. And then all of those are going to be about the same size. There are a couple of outliers, like this little piece right here. But you know the best part about these? You're the chef.
It's just a taster. It's
100%.
to make sure that it's good.
And this is the best way to get under the pieces over here or over here. And you know what also works really well for getting cornbread when it's super hot out of a pan? If you happen to have a dog, he will eat the entire pan. However, that's not what I'm talking about. A fish spatula works great to slide under, and the reason is these are pretty flexible, so you can actually slide it right underneath the cornbread and pull out an entire section of it so that you can serve it later. Let's get this out of the way.
He's a genius.
A lot of experience, that's all it is.
Less of a chef, more of a prophet.
Hey, there we go.
A lot of experience and genius.
Yeah.
And of course you gotta taste it yourself. That is delicious. Very cool with the cornbread. What do I need? I need a spoon. Get some of this tabbouleh out. Let's do this. Always mix your tabbouleh if it's been sitting, because all of the dressing settles at the bottom, and you want to make sure that it's glistening when you serve it. It's just lemon and oil, but if it's not glistening, it's not dressed.
That's sparkly.
So mom's tabbouleh or dad's mom's tabbouleh?
Dad's mom's tabbouleh.
Gotcha.
And I make it.
What's the difference?
My mom's mom was not Armenian, so she didn't make tabbouleh.
Okay, there we go.
And there is our jambalaya with some tabbouleh. So this has a little bit of Middle Eastern flair to it with the tabbouleh, but you can use any salad if you want, and the cornbread. And I always, on the cornbread, so I've already talked about using salted versus unsalted butter on stuff. You want to use salted butter when you want seasoning with your butter. On the cornbread is sweet, so I do want salt with my butter because I want it to make the cornbread a little bit salty. If you don't, or you want to make a honey butter or something like that, you can definitely do that. Or if you want to make like a salted honey butter, that'll actually elevate some of the flavor of the honey as well. So totally up to you. Again, it's your food. Do what you want with it. Let's go ahead and get some butter.
Everything's better with butter.
Everything is better with butter. I'm just gonna sneak
Especially
this
with
out.
butter.
Ah!
You get garlic and butter together.
Right?
Like garlic and cheese.
Garlic and cheese and bread,
Yeah.
like garlic cheese bread.
Oh.
Oh man.
I was in charge of dessert for my stepdad's 60th.
And you made garlic cheese bread?
I made 4 desserts, or 4 cakes, and I went through 3¼ pounds of butter.
Oh yeah, of
for
course.
4 cakes.
That's
So
all?
that's 13 sticks of butter. That's 13 sticks of butter.
So these were low fat cakes?
Yeah.
Vegan? That's vegan. Vegan cake.
vegetarian.
There we go. And you got your Creole style jambalaya with cornbread and tabbouleh. Not the neatest plate, but you know what? It's not supposed to be. It's jambalaya.
That looks amazing.
So what I'm gonna do,
Can we go to Prawns now?
No, we're gonna eat jambalaya.
Yeah.
here y'all go.
Tabbouleh.
Yeah, I got
Tabbouleh, tabbouleh.
Put this on the table over here, and we'll switch the camera. Y'all can eat and let people know what you think.
Hey, yeah.
Let's do that. Go for it. Help yourselves. Enjoy. Let me know what you think, and then we'll get a plate for everyone. You need more wine.
So are you eating off of this plate?
Everybody just take a bite, and then I'm going to be giving everybody their own serving. This is just for the stream.
Good job, Grandma. That tabbouleh is really good.
You calling me grandma?
Yeah.
Perfect.
You're living vicariously through her.
Yeah, her tabbouleh is awesome. And then generally we serve it with romaine lettuce, and then you can like cup it in the romaine lettuce. Let me switch on the microphone that's over by you so people can hear you, and I'm going to stop talking over here.
The cornbread is banging.
So the cornbread is delicious.
Yeah, and the cornbread honestly tastes almost exactly like what you would get out of a box package. We just use, yeah, it's really tasty. What else do I want? Oh,
Wow.
bottle.
This plate used to be so nice looking.
So what do y'all think? Good food?
Oh yeah.
There was a lot of flavor in that jambalaya.
In the jump, yeah. The best part about it, or the way that you do that, is all of the layering that you do. Like a lot of people will not brown things enough and get enough stuff on the bottom of the pot, and then it just doesn't taste as rich.
This is my first time having jambalaya.
Thank you.
And then that is really good.
Yes.
Out.
Yes.
It's a great combination. I thought it looked kind of funny at first, but really good combination.
Yeah, I mean, the heat from the jambalaya coolness with the totally the sweetness from the cornbread. It's a very, it hits the palate.
Almost like I know how to cook a little bit.
You've done this before.
Once or twice.
Wow.
At least once, because of Monday.
That is really good.
Anyway, everybody, yes, thank you, Etienne. I am the perfect wife. I'm terrible at cleaning, though, so I can't take credit for being a good cleaner. Although, really, you know, wives don't clean anymore, so that's good. I mean,
Yeah, Katie, it's really, really good.
yes, my mom has an excellent rib recipe. I don't know that I'm going to show that on the internet. My mom is in Black Hawk, not in Black Hawk, but like right outside of Black Hawk, in the same area, in the Danville area. But yeah.
I'm at my best restaurant.
I would love to know the mom's rib recipe. I've been craving ribs. I've been talking about it for probably the past 2 months.
So mom's rib recipe, you have to actually give her a rib before she'll actually make it for you.
Okay.
So I'm
like one of the bottom ones. I have 9. They're all broken though on this side.
That's okay.
Okay.
So why not? Like,
Right?
Yeah.
So
Give her one
did
of
you
the-
do more of like a Kansas City style barbecue, Texas barbecue,
It's like
Carolina
the-
barbecue?
I guess it's more like it's more saucy, not dry rub. So it's yes, it's a lovely, and then you can use the sauce on rice or pasta or whatever else. It's delicious.
Because Kansas City barbecue is a very sweet barbecue, and then Texas barbecue is very smoky. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
It's not smoky at all. It's really kind of a sweet, yummy. You can make it as spicy as you'd like.
Yeah.
Barbecue. And the fact that we're using the hottest hot sauce that's available on the market right now is, well, I'd say maybe the second hottest, is not like making the dish
I'm not finding it
unedible. So you can use Tabasco. The recipe just says hot sauce. So if there's a hot sauce you like sriracha, you can use that. You can use Tabasco. You can use whatever you like. Tapatio if that's what you want to use. Yeah, it's a sweet and sour rib. So anyway, guys, that's another Cook Along Live done on a Friday night. This one was a little bit long, an hour and 48 minutes. Sorry. Yet this is definitely worth it. So if you're at home cooking and you don't have other people that you're trying to entertain while you're doing your cooking, not that it's a bad thing. I invited you all over for a reason. This is something that will just keep on giving. I've got, even with them here, I've probably got enough leftovers for the weekend. So by all means, give it a try if you didn't get to cook along with us tonight. If you did cook along with us tonight, find the post for this and show me a picture. Leave a picture in the comments below. And if you don't already subscribe to me on YouTube, go find me on YouTube and subscribe there. The video quality is actually better on YouTube than it is on Facebook. Facebook only does 720p. YouTube can do 4K. I think I'm streaming at 1080p, yet it's still going to be better quality on YouTube than on Facebook. Also, Facebook sucks. Anyway, I will see you all next week. I believe we are doing a vegetarian lasagna next week. So if you want to put meat in the lasagna, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to be doing a vegetarian version. So I'm going to be using mushrooms and other things that aren't meat, just because I want to kind of spice it up. And I know that a lot of people who actually watch these don't eat meat. So I'm going to try and kind of, maybe not alternate, but throw in a vegetarian or a vegan dish here and there. Anyway, you all have a great weekend. I'm not eating my food because my guests are eating all my food, which is how it should be. And I'm going to go and join them. So you all have a great weekend, and I will see you next week on Friday at 6 o'clock. Have a good one.
Bye. don't see PSYRIXX
You did. So now they're not going to hear us.
on the YouTubes.
Should be youtube.com/PSYRIXX.
So cool. When was this picture taken?
You made sushi?
On Monday. On
You made
Monday.
sushi?
I have made sushi, yes. Once.
On your show?
No, I've never done it.
Okay.
My favorite place to get sushi is Salsa in Walnut Creek.
I've never been there.
It's good.
It's good, and they have
It's
really
good.
good Cosmos there.
They have really good, like small plates, whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I love, yeah.
Like tapas style
Yeah.
sushi plates.
Yeah.
No, like my mom
I like
doesn't eat.
Makuni sushi better, but I like their.
Yeah, my mom doesn't eat sushi, but I took her there and she like.
Oh yeah.
I totally subscribed just now.
I need to get on YouTube,
On YouTube?
in general.
There's a lot of aviation content on there as well. I do a lot of simulating streams and also real world flying, so you can see all of that. Sorry, I'm being super loud, but help yourselves
Thank you so
to
much.
everything.
Thank you so much for having us. It's incredible.
Thank you all for coming.
Are you really not eating?
Oh, I'm gonna eat. I'm definitely gonna eat. I just take all this off because I'm sweating. This is not my favorite part of the night, just because I'm always like,
Someone commented, they were like, "You have a lot of balls in the air right now," and I was like, "He really does." He's
Yeah.
like showing us his garden. And
Calm.
I am very good under pressure.
And she's very stressed.
yeah.
That comes from
I
growing up with
aspire
my
to your
dad.
level of equanimity.
Oh, thank you.
I've told him that before. Probably not in those words because
You're
you're
a
a
lifesaver.
better wordsmither than me.
Yeah, this
What?
this comes from growing up with my dad, who would make sure that that's actually good wine. Might be vinegar.
Vinegar.
Vinegar. I'm not joking. It might not be good.
She's like, seems to work for her.
If it works,
Fine, that's
okay.
fine.
All right.
Fine, I'll take it.
Okay.
Oh my god.
If it's a good wine or a decent wine, I'll let you go. Help yourselves. Plates are there. Grab them. Come and serve.
You don't have to tell me twice.
I'm not. Well, I already have, so I did.
All right.
I won't tell you a third time though. The third time, it's all my food. I'm also gonna feed my Mr. Doggo down there.